Thanks for joining me. So today I'm going to be tying a little pattern. I just call it the black and silver. Very, very basic. It's the first video I've done probably in over a year, so I want something nice and simple to get started back again. Hook I have in the vise is a full and mill competition heavyweight silver nickel, and the thread I'm going to be starting off with is Unithread 80 white. We'll just catch on in behind the eye, take a nice layer of thread down, just using the tag end of the thread for everything to slide down, keeping the wraps nice and tight. So taking our thread down near to probably where the bend of the hook starts, and then we'll trim off our waist. Now you could probably put a tail in this if you want it, but I don't really bother, so we're just going to go in with a rib here, silver uni, oval. Just catch it in roughly about there, winding up, tying down all the tag end. Again, just helps keep the body smooth, taking it all the way up to basically where you started your thread, just where you whipped on, and then again back down, aiming for touch and turns, keeping the body as smooth as possible. Probably missing bits there, but doesn't look too bad from here. So now we're going to come in with our silver body, which again, Uni Mylar 12 silver on one side, gold on the other. So I'll just take my length of it, just make sure you can see that in the camera. Just trim a bit of a bevel in it. So I'll set it on top, the shank with the gold side up, and just catch in with a few turns, and again bring your thread back up to your start point. There we go. This is a fly I'd be quite partial to when I'm fishing the night fly. Generally would fish it on top or middle dropper. It's done quite well for me. Now we're just going to take our silver body and overlapping turns the opposite direction to your thread, and we're going to wind it up our body, just making sure there's no thread showing through. And one of the reasons I like to use the white thread is if there is a gap, if the tinsel slips a bit, it's not really as noticeable with a white thread. If you were to use black, it would show up, it would show through the tinsel. It's not really as noticeable with a white. A few turns to secure it down and trim off. Now I'm going to add a palmered hackle to this fly, so I have a black cock saddle hackle here. I just take off a few of the feathers, trim it quite short, and tie in. So 4 or 5 turns, and then to wind this down, a turn or two at the head, especially if you've got room with a hackle, if you've plenty of length, and then depending on how heavily hackled you want it, just wrap it down towards the bend. Once you're down, take your rib and wind in the same direction as your thread, which will help lock down your hackle. Bring it back up through your palmered hackle, just weaving it in between, making sure you're not trapping down too many fibres. Doesn't look too bad. The good thing with a cock hackle is it's quite springy and it'll tend to spring back through. So once you've got that up, 2 or 3 turns just to lock your rib in. Come in with your old scissors. I don't really like using good scissors on oval tinsel or wire. Trim that out of the way. Trim the tag of your tail of your hackle off. Now just at this point, I'll just come in with some Velcro, tease everything back a bit, make sure if there's anything, any trapped fibres there, maybe pick them out with the dubbing needle. To be honest, that doesn't really look too bad. Hackle fibres at the front, we'll stroke them back a little bit, a couple of turns of thread just to keep them back. And then I'm going to add, this is a black hen saddle, a little bit softer than the cock, denser, so it just adds a little bit of volume to the head of the fly. This time I'm going to tie it in from the tip, so I'll pull back the feather or fibres, trim off the tip, and then tie that in. Half a dozen or so turns, it shouldn't really go anywhere. And then finger and thumb, just stroke the fibres back. Might be a little bit hard to see with my finger and thumb there. Just come in, there's one turn, 2 or 3 turns usually is ample. There's 2. That would probably do me, I think. And then catch down in with your thread. And the scissors, and trim off the excess. A couple of fibres there poking forward, so we'll just stroke them back with finger and thumb. 2 or 3 turns to lock them back. That's not too bad there. Now, at this point I'm going to add some jungle cock eyes. I have a pair pretty much prepped here. Pick them to size. These are 2 small full feathers, but you could use one larger split feather if you want it. So I'm just going to tie them in individually. I'll do my side first where I can see it, and then secondly I'll do the camera side. So just a few turns to secure that in, and then turn that around so I can see it. It's maybe just a little bit low, so I'll twist the shank a bit to see if that'll kick it up slightly. And then a quick look over the top to make sure they're symmetrical. Now just trim off the tag ends. Hand's a little bit shaky there, it's a long time since I've done a video. Now we're just going to whip finish with a white thread. 4 or 5 turns is plenty. We're going to come over the top of it with another thread floss just to finish it off. So for the head, I have a Glow Bright number 4. It's hard to see the number there just in the with a bobbin holder. So same thing, just whip over just enough to cover the white, or almost cover the white. Trim off the tag and then whip finish over that just to make sure any of the white is covered. There we go, come in nice and tight with the scissors, trim off our waist, and there we have what I like to call the black and silver. Like I say, don't think it really has a specific name, that's just what I call it. It features quite heavily in a lot of my fishing, especially in the evenings for Dollaghan trout. Very seldom I wouldn't have one on the cast, and if I was to put it anywhere it would be the top dropper. Very, very simple. You could knock up a few variations quite handy. You could add probably a fluorescent green or fluorescent red tail. It would look quite well with that. There's a little fibre just sticking up on the top. Come in with the scissors, take that out. There we go. Very, very simple fly to tie, but definitely very effective. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.